Hello, hello. How's everybody doing? Happy Saturday. I hope everybody's having a great day. Super excited to see so many people here. I know it's a lot to ask you guys to give up a Saturday afternoon. The good news is we're not going to be here super long. This is just meant to be a really fun hangout time together. Just you and I, the girls, maybe a boy here or two. I didn't see any boy in there. Oh, Craig, there you go. We got our first boy. Is Craig a boy? Am I assuming that's a boy? I get excited because men reach out to me and they're like, you always say you help women, you help men too. And I'm like, all right, I help women and men. So just know going forward, if I say I help midlife women, I mean women, I mean men, I mean people of all ages. We'll just cover everybody right there. So yeah, super, super fun. And here's the thing, you guys. I say midlife a lot because Tracy still has hot flashes and I've got a fan on me. So you're going to see my hair blowing. But we've got, actually, it's his wife, Christine. Oh, that's so funny. Okay, Christine, I'm glad you told me because I keep saying we have a boy here. His name is Craig. Hi, Kit. Hi, everybody. I'm super excited to see you all. This is really, really fun. So yeah, before we get started, I do have to say something. If this is your first time seeing me, either on a YouTube video or live or at a webinar, there's a few things that you need to know. I talk really fast. I yell. I kind of yell at you sometimes, and I use my hands a lot. So if that disturbs you, there's nothing you need to see. You could just listen to me and not look at me because I tend to get people a little riled up because I don't sit still and I get super excited when I talk about stuff and I get super loud when I talk about stuff and now I'm going to eat my hair. So there's my caveat, just explaining how I go. Okay. And another thing is those of you that have come to my webinars before know that Corey is my tech guy that always helps me out with issues. He's not able to ever come on Saturdays because he's got kids that are in soccer and golf and all that things. You've got no sound. If you can't hear me, you might have to leave, Aaron, and come back in because we've got a lot more people watching today than I had anticipated, and that might be the problem. Can anybody else hear me? I'm assuming you can because, okay, Kit can hear me. Aaron, let me type that in there. If she can't hear me, why am I telling her? Aaron, you may mute. I love that I'm trying to answer her, but she can't hear me. See, Corey always handles that stuff, but he can't be here on Saturdays because his kids are in sports. He has boys. So that's the reason why. So we're just going to have to muddle along together as we get into the groove of things. Okay. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. And can someone please do me a favor? Sandy, I'm going to designate you as my helper today. If anybody else says they cannot hear me, just type their name in the chat and tell them they may need to leave and come back in or refresh the page. Usually that's all they need to do to get me to sound, to get to hear me again. But thank you everyone that let me know that they can hear me. Okay. All right. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Because I don't want to keep you too long and hopefully I don't go off on too many tangents. Thank you, Sandy. Hopefully I don't go off on too many tangents. And I will be drinking coffee during this because I've been going to soccer games and I'm very loud in person as well. And I've been yelling at soccer games, so I'm a little bit hoarse. But first of all, welcome everybody. I'm so excited that you guys are here. I've been wanting to do this for a long time now. I put a poll in the Facebook group like, I think it was like 2 months ago saying, what's a better day for you? And then still didn't have time to go live. So I'm super excited that we're finally able to get started because the last few months, let me just say, it's been super busy, but things have finally settled down. And I hope they stay settled down for a while because that means I'll get to spend more time with you, hanging out with you all again, because we used to do this years ago. And I want to get back to doing that. But apparently, I am also getting a refresher course in technology. Hello, Brenda. I'm assuming, yeah, Brenda, I think that's a typo. I know Brenda, I think that's Brenda. So I discovered like 10 minutes ago that I set this live up incorrectly. So it's not showing in all the places it was supposed to go to. It's supposed to show live in Facebook and on YouTube. And I did something wrong, so that's not going to work. But the good news is, I now know exactly how not to do it. So going forward, it should be live in all the places and you won't have to use a link to get in here because I think all of you that are here use the link that I shared in the emails and in Facebook and on YouTube. Going forward, it should just show up on Facebook and YouTube. And only the people that don't like those platforms will have to use the link going forward. Okay. And speaking of next time, my hope is, yay, that this becomes a regular thing, just a fun Saturday afternoon hangout where we can chat about our homes, share ideas, laugh a little, mainly at myself, and figure this stuff out all together. Now, I can't do it every Saturday because I have grandsons that would probably like to do things every once in a while on a Saturday afternoon, but my goal is every other Saturday. So that's basically the goal. Now, before we jump into today's topic, I always like to start with an icebreaker question while everybody is finding us. I see a lot of people are still scooting in here, especially after my little technology adventure this afternoon. It may take a little longer for people to find me. So my question for this icebreaker is this. What is one area in your home you feel like you've already organized more than once, but it never seems to stick? Like, you get it looking good, you feel really proud of yourself, you're super excited, and then a week later, it's right back where it started, or even worse than it was when you started. So tell me in the comments what area that is for you, and I always like to share mine. So my biggest one was always my bathroom counter, right? More specifically, my lotions and skincare products, a topic I love to talk about. So I'm a sucker for a good sales ad, whether it be online, in a magazine, or on TV. If you tell me that your lotion is the one that is finally going to work on my wrinkles, I am all ready to buy it, which is usually exactly what happens. And unfortunately, that means at one point I had more lotions than one person should probably have. I had a ton of them. Okay, let me pause for just a second. We're going to come back to my lotion story. It's like my ongoing example today while we're talking. But let me see what everybody else said. Oh, it went super fast. Let me scroll down. So I'm just going to read a couple. Hang on. I need to get... Craig, what did you say your name was, Christine? Christine. So Christine said paperwork on the desk over and over and over. Kit said my desk. Sandy, the countertop. Craft room. Hello, Sherry. My office, my bathroom counter also. Rose is right there with me. Kitchen counters. That's a common one. Common one, Carolyn. Brenda said desk. I see clothes, office. Oh, you have a genealogy room. That's cool. Oh yes, new wrinkles for lotions. Martha Stewart has a new wrinkle line and I'm totally going to buy that. That's my next one. But I told myself I'm finishing the one I have right now, which is about 3/4 gone. And then I'm going to jump over and try to do hers. Dining room table. That's a common one too, Pamela. Okay. I'm super glad. And the good news is you all shared comments. So now I know the comment thread is working and I love comments. If you have questions, since Corey is not here, I need you to save it to the end. The good news is there is no sales spiel today. This is just, we're just hanging out. I'm not trying to sell you anything. All right. So at the end, we'll do a quick Q&A if you guys have any questions, and then that'll be the end of our talk. So I did want to tell you that as well. My big shelf in our main living room that has books and toys and a lot more stuff. Husband's work papers. Ooh, yeah, that's a biggie. All right. So you can keep putting your comments in, and I'm going to get back to our talk. Okay, so one more thing before we dive in. If this is our first time meeting, just let me quickly introduce myself. My name is Tracy Lynn. I am the founder of the Right-Sized Living community and the creator of the Right-Sized Living method, which is a practical approach that is helping tens of thousands of women create homes that fit the life they're living today. And a few years ago, my husband and I, we moved into a smaller empty nester home where you see me right now. And let me just tell you, that experience completely changed how I think about clutter, organizing, and what we really need to keep in our home. So we spent decades adding things to our homes, right? Things for raising kids, stuff we need for our jobs and careers, and supplies for each hobby we try, and all those different seasons of life. But very few people talk about what happens when those seasons change, but our homes keep holding all the stuff from all those years. So that realization eventually became the foundation for everything that I teach today. And it all comes down to one simple statement. Your home should fit the life you're living today. Now, full disclosure, you're probably going to hear me say that more than once in my talk with you today. I say it all the time because that really is the core of the right-sized living method, right? And let me just be clear. When I say right-sized living, I don't mean Tracy Lynn's right size. I mean Tracy Lynn's right size for her. Sandy's right size for her, Pamela's right size for her, Patricia's right size for her, and so on, right? Everybody's right size is going to be different. And that's why this method is helping so many women, because it's not a cookie cutter solution. It really is a practical way to finally get your home to where you want it to be. Okay, now let's go back to my face cream dilemma. So I have to tell you the story. My husband's here, but he's outside. And I told him not to come in because I'm doing a live. And now I'm about to talk about him. So hopefully the windows are open. He's not outside the window. But he still has no idea this was happening right beside him. So as you remember, I was struggling to keep all of my lotions that I had accumulated in my now much smaller bathroom. So a few months ago, we were sitting on the couch watching a movie. And while he's over there relaxing, watching the show, I'm right there beside him scrolling on Instagram, looking for an organizer to fix my lotion situation, let's call it. And then I find one, right? An organizer that promises to come in and save the day. And of course, the girl selling it is absolutely adorable. She's probably 25 years old. Her bathroom is spotless, right? She has perfect lighting, and she is calmly explaining to me that the reason my bathroom counter is chaotic is because I don't own this beautiful acrylic organizer that holds like 42 bottles of face cream. And suddenly, I'm fully vested. I'm sitting there thinking, well, this must be the answer to my problem, right? This is finally the organizer that is going to magically transform my bathroom for good. But that wasn't even close to the truth, because there was a step I was completely skipping over. That one super important step where I asked myself if I even need all those creams and lotions in the first place. Because I was so focused on finding a way to organize everything that I never even considered reducing the amount first. And the crazy thing is, I think we all do this in one way or another. Not because we're wrong, but because we've been taught that organizers fix clutter. Now, I want you to put a yes in the comments if that makes sense, because I'm sure I'm not the only one who has tried to fix a clutter problem with a pretty basket. So hopefully, and there's a delay, you all. So when we use StreamYard, which is this platform, there's a delay. Here come the yeses. Yes, Sherry said yes, and Iris and Christy, thank you, Christy, for putting that in there, said yes, and Linda and Kit, good reminder, Rose and Lisa and Laurel all said yes, right? And I know it sounds funny when I say it out loud, when I tell my organizer story out loud, but the truth is many of us have been taught for years that organizers are the solution, right? That's probably why there are entire aisles in like Walmart and Target and all those stores that are filled with baskets and bins and really nice drawer dividers. And don't even get me started on the Container Store. That's still open, right? Because we don't have one where we live, thank goodness. Who would have thought one day there would be an entire store, and not a small one, that is dedicated to helping us find the perfect thing to put our stuff in? So I had watched somebody on YouTube once say, we are always being told to buy more stuff to store our stuff. And I could not agree with her more. That's exactly what people are telling us. But over the last couple of years, as I've been working hard to fit all the things we brought with us from our big family home into our empty nester home, I realized something that completely changed how I look at organizing. Organizers are not step one. Organizers are step done. They are meant to be the very last thing that you do after you right size a space in your home. Because the organizer itself is not solving the problem, right? And maybe the biggest realization is it was never meant to solve the problem. The organizer is simply giving us a prettier way to keep more stuff than we actually need. All right, I saw a couple more come in. Oh, we have some more yeses. The reducing makes so much more sense, doesn't it? We're not decluttering, we're just reducing. It's a big difference. Catherine said, this is Kathy from Maryland. For some reason, I haven't gotten a message in many, many months. And with my memory issues, I totally forgot. Oh, Kathy, I'm sorry. Email us at contact@tracylynnmedia.com and Corey will help get you back online with us. Okay? So let us know that way. All right. Now, I always love to give examples and I always love to make fun of myself. And I have unlimited content, just so you know. And if I run out, my husband has unlimited content. So we'll tap into his examples someday too. But the best example in my house here is this really nice white farmhouse crock that sits right next to my stove and holds my cooking utensils. So when we first moved here, that crock looked absolutely ridiculous. It had spatulas sticking out of the top, wooden spoons like falling sideways out of it, random gadgets shoved in there that I never used anymore. And every time I pulled one thing out, 5 other things would come out along with it. It was like those hanging monkeys we all had when we were kids. Remember those? It was just like that every time I tried to pull something out. And here's the funny part. That crock was only holding part of what I owned, because underneath it, dun, 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 there was a drawer of cooking utensils. And that baby was packed to the brim with all the extra things that did not fit inside that crock. Because even though we had downsized and all 4 boys were out on their own, I still felt the need to keep all those things, just in case they all showed up for dinner out of nowhere. And then one day I found myself looking for a bigger container to fix the problem, because that was always my go-to solution. But this time I did something different. I stopped and asked myself a very simple question. Why do I have this much? And why do I feel the need to hang on to 15 wooden spoons when it's just me and my husband? And I have the feeling this might be hitting home for some of you, because many of us are still managing homes that were set up years ago for a completely different life, right? Not because we have a hard time letting go, but because nobody ever taught us a different way. Nobody ever told us that our homes should change right along with our lives as it is changing. So we keep managing spaces that made perfect sense years ago, but don't make as nearly much sense today. Is that how you say that? Nearly as much sense today. Sorry, when I talk fast, I just use my own kind of language. All right. Oh, I heard a screaming. Okay, can I get a that's me in the comments if you know exactly what I'm talking about? Ooh, someone's yelling really loud, right? So if you could put a that's me in the comments, then I know you know what I'm talking about. You're right on board with me. You get it. Give me an amen. Give me a yes. Give me a that's me. All the things. Lisa said, my issue is in reducing is that when all the kids were home, I couldn't afford all the things. So I was the same way. Okay, that is something we should talk about very quickly. We were on a very tight and fixed budget, right? So I shopped at yard sales. I shopped at consignment stores. I had to make everything last forever. I totally get that. And for the longest time, letting go was impossible for me. I kept all of the things because we just were so tight on money. It was like I was throwing away money when I was letting go of things. And then somebody told me something once. You're not going to recoup the money by keeping that item. The money was spent the second you bought it. But you also have to remember there are other people out there in the same exact situation, especially today with prices being so high. They're struggling to make ends meet. So if I can help somebody out by donating my stuff and they can buy it at a discount, or they can pick it up for free in an organization that's meant to help them, then I'm paying it forward. Isn't that a line they used to say, pay it forward? I'm paying it forward and helping somebody out. So I'm not saying you're doing it wrong by keeping it. I'm just trying to give you an example that I used to help me get over that hump that allowed me to let go of things. And now I actually feel good about letting go of things. Okay. That's me. It's hard to let go. Yes, Barbara, I totally get it. I totally get it. Okay. So here's the thing. And I might be repeating myself because I don't want to lose place on my notes because all this stuff is so important today. But again, I'm getting super excited. I cook very differently now, right, than I did when it was 20 years ago or even 10 years ago when all my kids were home and they had this horde of friends that always came along with them, right? Our house was super busy. So I needed those piles and piles of cooking utensils. But now today, where I'm at in my life right now, I don't need all of that anymore. But the only reason they came with us during the move was because I never even considered downsizing them. They had always fit just fine in our other house, right? We had a really big kitchen, so they fit in the drawers. And I think I had a crock and like 2 drawers to put everything in and a magnetic bar that I could put all my knives on, right? Excuse me. They fit just fine in the other home. So in my head, they would fit just fine here too. And if I'm being completely honest, I think part of me still saw myself as the mom feeding the busy family. So here's a big life realization. Even though I was no longer living that life every day, my kitchen was still set up like I was. That's a biggie, right? And the stuff I was trying to keep had crossed over from helpful to overkill. So instead of buying a bigger crock or finding another organizer to help make it all fit, I decided to reduce the amount first, to keep what made sense for the life I'm living today. And we don't declutter in the right size living method. This is another big change from the old traditional programs. We choose first. We choose the things that we use, the things that we reach for time and time again, the things that are our go-to solutions for situations, right? So for me, my Mickey Mouse spoons. Oh yeah, I love those spoons. Those are the first things I chose. And the spatulas that allow me to flip an egg without breaking the yolk, I definitely chose those too. And the tongs, the tongs that pick up things, there are some that when you open them too wide, they stay stuck on open. Nope, didn't keep those, but I did keep the ones that open and close super easy. The things that I use, that I rely on, that I depend on, that I will hand wash because I don't want to wait for the dishwasher to clean them, those were the things that I kept. And once I did that, it was more easy for me to see what was excess stuff, what was overkill stuff, what was stuff I didn't need to keep anymore. And then something really interesting happened. Everything fit in the crock just fine. Nothing was overflowing. Nothing was jammed in there sideways like it was fighting for a space, right? And because I right-sized what I had fewer utensils. So that meant I no longer needed the drawer down below the crock. And that was a big surprise I wasn't expecting. And when that light bulb finally went off, I started seeing other areas where right-sizing was the answer and not another organizer, like my teeny tiny closet. And if you ever want to watch that transformation, it's on my YouTube channel. You seriously got to watch it. I went from a walk-in closet to a closet that is literally this big. And I don't even think I'm exact. Maybe it's that big. That's it. That's all the closet I have now. And I had to fit in that closet and I don't have a dresser. So you need to watch that video if you haven't seen it yet. But not only that, like my linen closet was another one. My mudroom was another one. My office was another one, even in our attic. In all those areas where I kept thinking, I need a better organizer. I need a better system. All I really needed was to take a fresh look at my stuff and see if it still made sense for the life I'm living today. And I really hope the light bulb's going off for you too right now, because you can finally get off the train of buying another organizer to fix the clutter and instead focus on the inventory you're trying to keep. Now, as a disclaimer, because people ask me this all the time, I am not asking any of you to pare everything down to bare minimum. Your home was meant to be comfortable and cozy and a space you love to be in. This is about just creating a home that fits, a home that holds the things that support the person you are today, because life changes and our homes should change right along with us. That is why I always say organizers are the last step, not the first step, because once you decide what truly belongs in a space, organizing becomes so much easier. And more often than not, this is the best news, it's a lot less necessary, right? You don't always need an organizer once you reduce what you have so it fits how you're living now. Because with less stuff, you need less storage. You need fewer containers and zero complicated systems. And just knowing that makes everything feel calmer. It just makes it feel easier. It makes the right size living method feel like it could actually work. And it is working. Oh my gosh, you guys, I get emails like I've never gotten in my business before. I've been doing this for 10 years and I started out all about decluttering and organizing. I used to do videos on organizers telling you to buy them because they're going to fix this problem, right? But now it's changed. When I reduced from a big house to a little house, I realized organizers don't fix it. They just put a Band-Aid on a bigger problem. And now I'm getting emails like I've never gotten before. In all those years before, no one said a word to me. Now I'm getting them all the time. Thank you so much. This finally makes sense. I finally feel like I can actually do this one. So I'm super excited about that. But here's the thing. You're no longer hunting for some magical solution that will finally make everything fit, right? You're choosing what makes sense, letting go of the excess and creating space naturally. So let me ask you this. Do you really need a cabinet organizer that can hold 18 Stanley cups and a magnetic organizer for your refrigerator that can hold 24 glass straws? Don't laugh, because I almost bought one. But luckily, before I hit the buy button, I realized, you know what? I probably only need 3 cups. And that meant I only need 6 straws. And the result was 0 organizers because now everything fits just fine. How's that for organizing math? So this week, Before you buy another organizer for a frustrating area in your home, I want you to pause and ask yourself this first. Do I need a better system or do I just need less stuff? That one question can completely change how you look at your home. Because maybe the answer is not finding a way to store more. Maybe the answer is giving your home permission to catch up to the life you're living today. Now, before anyone thinks I'm completely against organizers, let me be very clear. I'm absolutely not. In fact, I think an organizer can be the perfect solution in an area that is hard to utilize, right? Like I have a cabinet in my kitchen that doesn't have a lazy Susan. It's a cabinet that literally goes straight in and back about 3 feet. So yes, I do use an organizer in that situation. And I have a pantry that goes way up to the ceiling and I can't see anything on those top shelves. So I actually do use organizers up there because it helps me utilize the tricky areas of my home. But it also helps me hold my stuff. Now we're going to go back to my lotion problem from earlier. Because once I reduced my lotions, I got rid of the stuff that just wasn't working. Even the expensive stuff, I got rid of it. Yep, I think crepe erase was a biggie for me. Paid a lot of money for that stuff and it didn't do a hill of beans for my neck. So I got rid of it, right? And I found lotions that are actually making and working on my skin. So now that I downsized that, I was able to buy an organizer to make sense. So I got 2 of these caddies, I think they're called. And they each, this is all my stuff. This is my morning lotions, hair care, and makeup. I'm a very simple girl. And this is my evening one. So this is my evening face care and makeup remover and all that stuff is in here. So now in the evening, I just grab this tote. Everything I need is right there. And in the morning, I just grab this tote. Everything I need is right there. And no more bottles falling over because I accidentally bumped one when I grabbed what I wanted. So yes, organizers absolutely have a place. They're just not step one. Okay, I saw a lot of things coming in. Hang on one second. Let me scroll up. Okay, that's me. I also have this voice in my head saying one of the kids might be able to use this, so I will hold on to it. All right, Lisa, this is what I did. And I'm not saying my solution is the answer. I just like to give real life examples because I'm a super visual person. And if I know how somebody else did it, I can either take that example and work it for me, or I can use that as the starting point and adjust it for me. So what I did was this. I started out when my kids were still at home and I made each of them a tote and it said house on it. And then I would put things in it for the house. And one said memories on it. And I put things in it for memories. And one said decorations on it because let's face it, it's expensive getting decorations for holidays. Each kid had 3 totes. And the decorations tote was just a small like shoebox size tote. And the other totes were a little bit bigger. And then once they moved out, because they all have their own homes now if I have something I want to get rid of, I take a picture of it with my phone and I text, I have a group chat, say the first one to say yes, gets it. And if nobody says anything, I get rid of it. And if somebody says yes, it goes to them. And that system's been working really well for me. Okay. All right. Kathy said it's hard to let go of your former identities. Yes, it is. Especially if you have things for a life you hoped to live someday, right? So let's say you had always wanted to quilt and you never had time to learn how to quilt. So you bought all the stuff for quilting, fully intended on learning, never had time, but that was a decade ago. Here you still have that quilting stuff and you still don't have time to learn it, but the love for wanting to learn it isn't nearly as strong. So why keep all the stuff you bought? Because now it's probably a guilty reminder for what you didn't do. Instead, let it go and bring up and start a new hobby that you now enjoy. Like I tell this story as well. I used to scrapbook. Right? I bought all the stuff for scrapbooking. I had more stamps than Stampin' Up. And if you know scrapbooking or making cards, you know what Stamping Up is. I had all like totes of stamps from Stamping Up and die cuts. I had all the things. And I scrapbooked for maybe 2 years and found out I hated it. Yet I kept everything because I spent so much money on it, right? I'm like, I spent the money on it. Got to keep it now. So it sat in my craft room for like 5-6 years, never being touched. When we moved into this home and had a yard sale, I sold all that scrapbooking stuff. And I made way for my new hobby. And you're going to laugh when you hear it, but it's reading fiction books. I know it doesn't sound like a hobby, but let me just tell you, I'm loving it. I love sitting outside on a summer night with the lights on, reading till like for 1 or 2 hours. I absolutely love it. It's my reward for a well-lived day. And I consider that a hobby, and that is my hobby right now. So I got rid of all the other stuff. I used to sew, got rid of that stuff. I used to scrapbook, got rid of that stuff. And with some of the money, I bought myself a whole set of books, a series that I've wanted to read. And I'm starting to read those books, and I'm loving that hobby so much more. Zero guilt when you have a hobby that you love doing. Rose said, I have a drawer full of knives and I only use a couple of them. I have knives on the counter that I mostly use. There you go. So choose the ones that you use. Now, if you're unsure about this, choosing instead of losing, here's what you can do. And I did this in the beginning as well. Get yourself a tote, not a big one of the small ones that are about this big, and put maybe on the front with a Post-it note. And when you choose the things that you use, and that shows you the things that you don't use, put those in that tote, set an alarm on your phone for a week. And if after a week you haven't changed your mind about letting those things go, then you can let them go with a little more confidence in that decision. But the good news is, as you get used to right sizing and choosing what fits your life so you can let the stuff go that doesn't, you become so much more confident. You actually start looking for things to get rid of. I got to the point where, and I used to have a hard time. I was basically a borderline hoarder. I had so much stuff in my house. I cracked the ceiling in my attic. The ceiling in the garage down below, I actually cracked the ceiling. That's how much stuff was in my attic. And I've gotten to the point now where I love going to the donation center, and they actually know me. Hi, how you doing? I'm like, how are you? I've got more stuff. So you can turn the page. You can turn the corner. It is possible. But don't go hardcore in the beginning. Go slow. Be kind to yourself. This is a whole new system. Pick one drawer and choose the stuff that makes sense and let the rest go. Do your utensil drawer. Do that one first. Choose your favorites, put them inside. Take the things that you didn't choose, put them in a temporary holding cell. Give yourself a week to make the final decision. Once you do, take it to the donation center, move on to the next drawer. It's slower doing it that way, but you're going to change your perspective, and it's going to become so much easier if you do it slowly. Okay, Christine said, me too. Melody said, good insight that you think you are still in the old life. No need to update today. Yes, yes. Holding on to an old identity. I told my 84-year-old hoarder friend about the concept, and now he is getting rid of things that he thought he would repair someday. Mr. Fix-It, old identity, and he can still fix things for our community. I love that, Barbara. That is such a great story. My favorite thing to get rid of from an old identity was my skinny clothes. It was hard to get rid of them. And I actually did wait 30 days before I got rid of them. I put them in a box that said maybe, put them in my attic and let them sit there. And then after like 30 days, give or take, I'm guesstimating, I finally got rid of them. And let me just tell you, I think it removed 10 pounds of guilt, no pun intended. It really did, because every time I saw those clothes, I'm like, I never lost the weight, never lost those pounds, never got to fit in those clothes. And then I'd try another diet because I felt guilty because I wasn't fitting in those clothes. You let go of that stuff, and it might be a struggle in the beginning, but eventually it is just a game changer. Love that tote. Oh, thank you, Sandy. Please tell me how you organize that cupboard that goes 3 feet to the side. All right. How I organize that cupboard is I put in things that I don't use often. So it is my items that are only used once a month. Okay. So basically things that I use sporadically. So my veggie chopper, which is a regret purchase, that's in there. My carrying dishes when I go to a potluck, that's in there. What else do I have in there? Oh, I have my lunch meat container because we only buy lunch meat like once a month when we go on a fishing trip. That's in there. And I know that specifically that's my monthly items. So I don't make it easier to access. There is no magical way to access a dead corner. I think that's what you call it, a dead corner. There's no magical way to access it, but you can put things in there that you don't need often and tell yourself my monthly items are in the deep corner. So when you need the monthly item, you know where to look at it. Because the problem is we put things back there and we forget what's back there. If you determine beforehand what's going back in there, and if you don't think you're going to remember, put it on here. Monthly items, stick it to the inside of the door. So when you open the cabinet, monthly items are on the bottom shelf in the back. You know exactly what's back there. So the label might be all that you need for that. Okay. I know it's not a game-changing solution, but that's just what I did. And it kind of works for me. Where did you get those baskets? Oh, these? Is that what you're saying, Ilona? Is that what you're saying, these bins? Hang on a second. I can give you the link to Amazon. This is an affiliate link, just an FYI. It does not change the price of it. Amazon just pays me money for referring their item, and it's just one of the ways I make money with my business. So this is an affiliate link, but that will take you to, there's all different colors. Yeah, it's very small. When I first got it, I'm like, there's no way that's going to work. And it actually works. It works great. Okay. Rose said, I have antiques that are very old and some belong to my parents and grandparents. I don't use them and don't know what to do with them. Do you have any family that may want them? You could take a picture, text everybody and say, brothers, uncles, aunts, cousins that may want them. And if not, then you can sell them on consignment online. I don't know exactly, like eBay or Facebook Marketplace. My husband's an antique collector. And when we first moved here, he refused to get rid of anything. And now he's starting to do that. So he likes to sell things on Craigslist and on Facebook Marketplace. And he'll list 1 or 2 things at a time. Sorry, that's my FedEx guy, and he blasts the radio when he drops things off. So he'll post things on there like once a month or so, and they sell pretty good. Just sell 1 item at a time. That's the best way to do it. Now, if it's a family heirloom you don't want to get rid of, go ahead and keep that. I would choose the things that you want to keep. And then everything else that you don't want to keep that didn't make that cut, then you can sell those items online. It's a little bit easier to do that way. Do it that way. And then once you sell the things that you didn't choose, it makes it easier going forward, choosing what you want to keep and what you're able to sell. If you can part with them, you could find an antique store. Yes, very good. If you have an antique store where you live, you could do that too. I don't really know anything about antiques. That's more my husband. Christine said, oh, the skinny clothes, same here. I'm telling you, girlfriend, when I got rid of those, that was a game changer. Kathy said, maybe you could look for an area with antique stores. Even a flea market might work, but I think you're going to get the most money at an antique store because if they sell it, they usually buy it. Alona said, thanks, Brenda. Oh, for the link. Got it. Brenda said, I have 4 of those cursed dead space cupboards. Okay, here's what I would do. In one of those dead space cupboards, I would put seasonal items, like holiday items, things like that. In another one, I would put things that you only use monthly. And another one, you could put small gadgets that you don't use all the time. Like maybe you have an ice maker, maybe you have a food processor, maybe you have a panini press. That can go on one. Designate each of those dead areas to hold a specific thing. I don't know what's taking him so long to leave. Is that loud? I'm sorry if it is. Designate each of those dead corners to hold a specific thing. And then that way, as long as you know what's there, they will become useful for storage for you again. Kathy said, Rose Walker, I missed you guys. Yes, missed you too, Kathy. Okay. Now, if there's one, and I don't know if I already said this, I'm sorry, I'm going to be repeating myself. But if there's one thing I hope you take away from this today, it's this. Your home should fit the life you're living today, right? Not the life you lived 10 years ago or the life you hope to live someday. Hello, skinny clothes. But your amazing, beautiful, wonderful life, the one you're living right now today. And remember, sometimes creating a calmer home has nothing to do with finding better storage and everything to do with deciding what still belongs. Oh my goodness, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this as much as I did. Now, if you love the idea of right-size living, be sure to grab the free guide. And I think I have a banner, so let me pop that up. Corey always does this for me. It's this one right here. Go to declutterinminutes.com/RS. Oh, that should say, oh, maybe that is it. Can somebody click on that and see if that goes to the free guide? I thought it said RSL guide. Oh, I have it right here. Let me click it. Yes, it does. Okay. RS guide, declutterinminutes.com/RS guide. That will just take you to the free guide that I offer. Go ahead and sign up for that. And that will just, it goes in deeper to the right size living method. Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Sandy. I'm glad you like the ideas. That is all I have for you today. Yes, you're right, Kathy. You might already have an organizer. Always shop your home first if you need an organizer. That's a great reminder. All right, everybody. That is all I have for you today. I'm sorry I kept you so long, but it was super fun. So my goal was to go every other Saturday, but I was thinking when I told you that at the beginning, I think the every other Saturday is the 4th of July weekend. So it's probably going to be 2 Saturdays. Or am I wrong? No, I think we do. I think we can go every other Saturday. Just watch in the Facebook group. I'll post when I go live again. I'm also going to post in YouTube like I did this time, and I'll send out an email. So you'll get a link that you need to use in the email to access the live, but it should show up in real time on Facebook and in YouTube because I'm going to make sure that Corey does that for me. You're welcome, everybody. Okay, that's all I have for you guys. I hope you have a great day and a fantastic weekend. 27th is next. Okay, 27th will be our next live. All right, everybody. Have a great day. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.